We are recording, so you'll be receiving the recording at the end of the session. We talked a little bit yesterday, and what I like to do in these sessions is keep an open dialogue. Um, I also want you to think of these sessions as like therapy as well. So, if there are things you need to express and talk about, let out, this is a safe space to do
Thank
so.
you.
And we'll have your birth chart up as well as we are talking. Um, so I usually like to give people just like a minute or two to just kind of speak what's going on. And then I'll start giving some general outlines of your birth chart and we'll just go from there. Does that make sense?
Okay. hmm
All right. So the floor is yours.
Oh, my turn. So I'm um actually concerned about Scout still, but she's doing okay next to me. So sorry about that. She's just
Okay.
still being a little bit funny with food.
Oh.
Um, she hasn't thrown up or anything, but I'm just watching her. She's chewing a bone next to me, and I'm dreading work tomorrow. Dreading it. I don't feel safe at work anymore. And I am trying to figure out how I've got to just pull it together and get through my work and
Mhm.
look for another job. I can't be there anymore. Um I think I had funny medicine dreams last night, but I have not been remembering them, which usually I remember part of them, but I think they're working dreams. And then I was curious about my chart. That looks about right.
Mhm.
Don't I have a bunch of stuff in Pluto or something?
Your Pluto is right here in Virgo, and you have
Oh, there you are.
yeah.
Okay.
So here's your Pluto in Virgo, and it's conjunct Jupiter in Virgo, and you have your South Node in Virgo.
I think you were talking about that yesterday. Okay. Yeah, so all the four-leggeds are kind of freaking out a little bit, but they'll settle down.
That's
Um, Usually happens when I'm on a call. They
Mhm.
start fighting and but they'll settle down. Yeah, so I'm just really upset about work mainly. Good girl. And there's a I think I told you a little bit about maybe I didn't. So the work I did with Laura, there's a guy that he is no longer because I just busted him lying to me within the last month. And I know I need to not talk to him anymore. And his wife, who he's been separated from, divorced from, he is currently there because he doesn't want her to have his retirement. And she is, so this lifetime, the three of us have had multiple lifetimes, and I'm the one who's breaking that karmic attachment this lifetime. That's like a big part of my life path, I think, from working with my teacher. He was all about breaking karmic attachments. So I know that that's what I've been doing. And she's actually the evil source that is like lifetime after lifetime. Like me and Laura went way the fuck back, like all the way back. So I know that. Um, so that's like a thing. Um, but yeah, I'm dreading work tomorrow.
Mhm.
So, um,
Mhm.
hey, so, um, I think I tell you what she taught? Yeah, said I was like sharing too much about my dog, like just ridiculous bullshit. And I'm like, okay, I work in a house full of people who are all recovering and they share tons of personal shit all day long and I don't say anything about it. But so it was like that.
So,
So
who told you you were sharing what?
my boss, apparently someone, and like where I work in residential, like they're really like the way you communicate, you're supposed to write an encounter. It's like really, I get it for treatment, but like we're adults and I just work with a bunch of petty people.
Mhm.
So this just happened, and she was very nice about it, but I'm really slow to process. So as I've been like, I immediately was like, started looking for a new job. And I'm like, really? Like, so I'm talking about my 9-month-old dog too much, but if it was a baby, I'm pretty sure that would be different. And I was communicating about my health to communicate. Um, it was just really, I was like, noted. I thought I was safe and I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the crux of it. And I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm just really tired.
Yeah.
Um, but I know why I'm tired, you know, because of this. I really this lifetime tired.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people who understand that. I've got a handful of people who understand that. I don't want you to be eating that. So uh I think that's about what I have to say. But you should have a bunch of my people with their a few. Yeah. I usually have an army and my teacher's usually right there. He's pretty awesome. So
Awesome. Well, thank you.
anyway, I'm excited and thank you. I'm excited to hear. Yeah, I'm excited. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing those things
mhm.
with me. I'm sorry for the things you're dealing with. And one other thing I wanted to just ask about. So you yesterday on the phone, you mentioned that you were like experiencing like a return of a depression. Is that right?
Pretty bad. Yeah, I had really bad work stuff happen to me at the hospital I worked at for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
Um with let's see, that was in 2020. I met him in 2019.
Who's him?
This guy that
The
I
same guy,
was,
the same guy from the Love Triangle
yep, that's when I met him.
in 2019.
2019. It was actually September 19th because my friend, my coworker was getting married. It was a really fucked up day. So my friend, my coworker was getting married. I never go anywhere socially because my anxiety's just gotten so badly that like I make it to work. I used to play music full time too, and I had to stop just because it was way too much stimulation and people's energies, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And started having a lot of somatic stuff. But my coworker was getting married. I was going to go there for a surprise. I get to work, find out one of the psychiatrists I'd worked with committed suicide the day before.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, I was like, what? Like super fucked up. Um, Still miss him. And then I get home and like two people are fighting in front of my house. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I go around and I see a cop car and I called the cops. I'm like, two people are fighting in front of my house. And this guy, he was a cop at the time, was talking to my neighbor. And I'm like, you're at the wrong house. But it turns out she had gotten broken into that day. So she called the cops. Anyway, it was like this whole fucked up day. But anyway, I remember it very well. So anyway, so long of the short is the hospital just got really volatile after COVID. I got a new supervisor. My boss at the time was like, and I'm like, they wouldn't do that to me. You know, I've been there 20 years. But sure enough, get my new boss, and I knew who he was, and I knew he didn't like me, and he was super religious. And sure as shit, I ended up trusting a coworker who apparently had been going to him, telling him God knows what. And they um, called me into the office, telling me that they were concerned for my mental health. And I didn't read what I signed because I believed that they were genuine. Turns out I had been written up, so it prevented me from getting other jobs, but I didn't know that.
Wow.
It was super fucked up and, you know, honestly, just really hurtful. And so since that happened, I have felt very untethered. Job I had was for gender affirming care. And I guess the two social workers who were supposed to train me quit before I started. So I had no one to train me, no one to tell me what my job was. So they too were like, oh, you were set up to fail. And I'm like, great. So they ended up dissolving my job. And then I found one of the docs I worked with at the my job is in women's residential. Most of my clients are schizophrenic, schizoaffective, straight from jail or the streets or the hospital. It's a very hard job, very toxic, cruel, which I don't know why I keep picking these environments. Well, it's like I don't realize at the time how what I'm walking into. So I've been there for 2 years. And then this just happened with my boss telling me that I was like talking too much about my dog. Um, Very toxic environment. So meanwhile, I had been seeing this guy. He leaves his wife again. She's probably still stalking me. Literally driving in front of my house multiple times a day, and I have security cameras. Hiding in the bushes across the street, like crazy shit. Um, so like for the past 10 years, I've had really fucked up shit happen in addition to like my lifetime trauma and the
Hmm.
other lifetime traumas, but I've dealt with a lot of it. However, it's greatly affected me, which is why I think I was reaching out for help because I'm just like, I am tired, and now I don't feel safe at my work. I mean, I didn't feel safe anyway, but I felt kind of safe. But now I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Hmm.
Uh, and it sucks. So, and no one really knows about the guy except for like you and like people who, my spirit people who are like, you can't talk to him anymore. And I'm like, I know, I'm working on it.
Mm.
So, um, but the work stuff has been really traumatic.
Yeah.
It's just mean behavior, you know? Like my
Yeah.
head doesn't work like that, so I can't understand why you would want to do that to someone. Like I don't understand, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So I'm like, maybe, my shame's like, well, maybe it's my fault. I did something wrong. Like this is my karma for I don't know what, I don't know. But it's
Hmm.
been really traumatic, honestly. And my
Hmm.
body's been fucked up, in lieu of that, somatically speaking. So,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that's been the past since 2019. And then I did start self-harming really bad again during that time.
Hmm.
Looking back, like I can't believe how bad I self-harmed. Um, and in an Akashic Records session pretty recently, my teacher was like, if you don't stop, you're gonna die. Period.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I've decreased and I've found like I was abusing fiber pills. I mean, I've had an eating disorder since I was like 10, so they don't go away. But anyway, I do hear that every day and I know he's right. And I've been trying really hard to, be careful. Um, so that has been my life in a nutshell since 2019. But it's been a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
Mm-hmm.
all of that information with me. I'm
Sorry
sorry
if it was
for
too
all of the
much.
things that you've been going through. Oh no, it's fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot to go through, but it's not too much for me to receive and hear and listen and to extend compassion towards. So it's completely fine. And there's some interesting things in your chart
Mm-hmm.
that I want to point out. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do is just point out some interesting uh, phenomenon that you were born with that's active in your chart. And
Okay.
then I also want to point out some of the transits that you've been going through for a while.
Okay.
So you are a Cancer rising. Okay.
Okay. Cancer rising.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're a Cancer rising. You're a Sun in Taurus. Your Sun is
Okay.
in Taurus at 1 degree.
Okay.
Your Saturn is in Aries at 28 degrees, and it is within a conjunction to your Sun. So Saturn is 3 degrees away from your Sun sign. So this Saturn, close to your Sun, adds a lot of overbearing pressure to your conscious awareness.
Mm.
and your moon is in Gemini, and
Okay.
your moon is in Gemini in the 12th house, okay?
Okay.
So um this adds more challenges in when it comes to dealing with reality, when it comes to dealing
Mm.
with reality and connecting to people.
Mm.
The 12th house is a domain of the subconscious.
Hmm.
And the 12th house is a very mystical domain of duality, whereas
Whereas,
one spectrum of the duality is bliss, euphoria, Christ consciousness, unity consciousness, unconditional love. Then the other spectrum is suffering, martyrdom, sacrifice, lost, and hopelessness. So the
mm-hmm.
12th house is a very powerful domain of our chart. And your moon is in here expressed through the sign Gemini, which adds another layer of dualities because there's two there's two there's two signs that express duality, two domains that express duality. That's the third house, Gemini, and the 12th house, Pisces. So your moon is here in Gemini in the 12th house. So there's a lot of duality here within your mind, in your subconscious, in your belief systems, and how you process emotions that make it very hard for you to connect to other people, that make it
Mm.
hard for you to reach out to other people. Even if you are surrounded, even if you have people in your life with the moon in the 12th house, this is an underlying feeling of isolation, of being alone. And that's because your moon is existing in a domain that's not part of reality. And so the other thing about having a moon in the 12th house is that it's very easy for these individuals to fall into addictions of
Mm.
any kind of sort. Addictions and have obsessive tendencies. Um,
So right on.
and with the moon in the 12th house, this is this creates a tendency for the individual to initially try to escape
Hmm.
discomfort, to escape reality, to escape what is required of them to face in meeting of the world. So running away, escaping, coming up with excuses. It's a challenge with the moon in Gemini. But on the positive side, with the moon in the 12th house, is that it it makes you so much more empathic to other people's unconscious energies,
Mm.
but also receptive in experiencing the supernatural. So
Mm.
with the moon in Gemini, it brings you closer, it brings you more closer to supernatural forces than
Hmm.
it does to human connection.
That
So
makes sense.
yeah, so it's so your moon in Gemini in the 12th house, it's a tricky one to navigate because with the 12th house being the subconscious and Gemini also being the mind and the duality of the mind, and the moon being a planet that is emotional, to process emotions, it's the inner private world. You have a hard time processing your emotions. You don't feel your emotions when you have emotions. Instead, you're going through this whole protocol of analyzing your emotions and trying to understand why you have these emotions. Like you said, you're slow to process, right?
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
that's contributed to your moon in Gemini, but also your Mercury in Taurus.
Mm.
Because you're not feeling in the moment, you're processing and digesting what you are feeling instead of experiencing the emotion in the moment. And because your moon is in Gemini, if your mental health is not well, then your emotions and your thoughts can become overwhelming and out of control to the
Mm-hmm.
point of really spiraling you out into a darker space of
Mm-hmm.
escaping either through self-harm, drugs,
Mm-hmm.
or addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important for you to um, practice um, things that help you keep a balanced mind, a balanced mind, clear thoughts. Affirmations would be really, really useful for you.
I have
Um,
them. Yeah. Is that my connection to four-leggeds? That makes sense. Why I've had that connection with four-leggeds because I can't connect to people very well.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna associate that to your well, yes, your moon in the 12th house is definitely gonna assist with that. But the other
Mm-hmm.
thing is your south node is in Virgo and your north node is in Pisces. So this is also gonna really make you more connected, not just to animals, but it's gonna make you more connected to where there is suffering.
Yes.
It's going to extend compassion to where there is suffering. So it's not only animals, it's people with disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
and elderly folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have a natural reaction center of compassion when it comes to um, communities or groups or people that are not seen, or
That
or
makes
or
sense.
or being shown compassion, which a
Yeah.
big thing is animals, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's normal for these placements for people that do a lot of volunteer work at shelters, or they adopt, or they foster animals. They have that compassion within them to extend it towards animals. Um, Now, the other thing is, your Chiron is here in Aries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and so is your Venus right here. And they're about 6 degrees apart, but this is pretty close, okay? And it's here in the 10th house, and the 10th house is the domain of
Mm.
career legacy status. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So right around the time when you got fired, you actually were going through a Chiron return where Chiron was right here in this space of your career, a place where you've worked at for 20 years, and you were attacked. Your identity was attacked, right? Because Chiron represents what? The wounds. It's the wounded healer. So Chiron represents the wounds, the trauma, the pain, emotional, physical, mental, psychological, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you were going through a Chiron return that initiated 2018, 2019, and
Mm.
2020,
And
were
they didn't fire me. They let me write a letter, but they fucked me.
yeah, right,
So anyway, keep
right,
going.
right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah,
disguised.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for the clarification, and that's
Well,
fucked up.
it is
So
fucked
and
up.
so and so, that and Venus is relationships and monies, right? So this really triggered this wound, right? So when that happened and you were going through Chiron return right here, this wound got very triggered, and it's a wound. So Chiron in Aries is a wound of being able to be strong and bold in expressing your authentic individuality,
Mm.
or when being in your authentic expression, being criticized and attacked for it.
Yep.
And so this really triggered that wound because people outside of you were trying to project onto you that you were mentally unwell, right?
Oh my God, dude, that's exactly what happened.
Right,
It's okay.
exactly.
It's
So,
okay. It's okay.
right,
And
and
it was
that's an attack.
trauma.
That's an attack of your identity. It's an attack of your character, and it happened in the domain of your career, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So this literally initiated 2018, 2019, and 2020. Okay.
Okay.
So that's something you've been going through, and it's not over. Like you said before, you feel untethered ever since this has
Yep.
happened. Well, that's because this wound has been blasted wide open in a very intense way, and Chiron is still in Aries.
Okay.
Chiron has been in Aries since 2018 and is still moving in this domain of your 10th house of career, status, legacy, and accomplishments.
And that's why
And
it's still happening because they're
that's
trying to do the same thing right now. And I'm like, you guys are
yes.
all fucked up. Like you wouldn't believe the toxicity in this house. And they're like saying, yeah, exactly. Keep going. I'm
Yep,
just
yep, yep,
amazed at
yep.
this. I feel
So
validated, actually.
so right here,
Uh-huh.
this outer wheel is where the
Yeah,
planets are right now. Okay, so
got it.
this inner wheel is your birth chart. So
Mm-hmm.
we can see Chiron is now here. All right.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So all the way back in 2018, 2019, 2020, Chiron was right here. So
Oh, okay.
right above your birth Chiron or your natal Chiron and your Venus. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's taken Chiron all these years to come towards the very end of Aries, 28
Okay.
degrees. And so what do you have in your birth chart in Aries at 28 degrees? I'll show you. Saturn, okay?
Oh no.
Yes, so here this is another episode, all right? So
All right.
this is
This is
another
what's happening
episode,
right now.
huh?
It's what's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
Saturn, and not only that, but you see this, look at where Saturn is right now. So this
All the
is
way at the end.
so Saturn right now is
Ugh.
here
Oh no.
triggering the points of where Chiron was 2020, 2019, twenty
Okay.
eighteen. So Chiron, Saturn going
Ugh.
on here. So Chiron right now, transiting Chiron is on your natal Saturn, which is going to create conflict with authority,
Mm.
aka bosses, aka supervisors, aka management, aka the whole fucking system itself.
Even though
So
I'm not doing anything wrong.
yeah, no, even though you're not doing anything wrong,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Um, and then transiting Saturn here at 10 degrees on your Venus and on your Chiron, this is adding the pressure, right? And
Yeah.
adding the pressure that is removing freedoms, right?
Yep.
Because now you feel like you're not free. Now you feel like you're trapped. Now you feel like you're in this
Yep.
situation, right? And it's
Yep.
like, well, what I can't just quit all of a sudden. I
No, I
have bills
can't.
to pay. I
I just
have a
turned,
life that
yeah.
I need to
Yeah, I just turned
sustain myself. So,
57. Mm-hmm.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what Saturn does. Saturn adds suppression and removes this sense of freedom, this sense of liberty, and applies more um this pressure of needing to um, work harder.
Right.
Um, and so this fucking sucks, right?
Right.
Saturn can be a bummer.
Right.
You know, but this Saturn has triggered your Chiron and it's on your Venus, right? So this is you feeling, with the Saturn on your Venus, this is you feeling, this pressure about money and finances,
Yep.
but it's also bringing this stress
Yep.
on everyone that you're interacting day to day, right?
Mm.
The people that you're interacting with day to day, especially at work. And then with the Saturn activating your Chiron, um, this is this is requiring you to really show up for yourself
Hmm.
to start healing this wound that's been
Oh,
blasted open since
okay.
2020, since
Okay.
2019, 2020. So,
Okay.
because Saturn's about responsibility. Saturn's about
Okay.
responsibility, accountability, and doing the work. So,
Okay.
because Saturn is here, it's wanting you to do the work. But because, how I mentioned, you have your moon in the 12th house, naturally, one of your natural tendencies is to get stuck in your mind and escape.
Yep.
And so this is where you're being pressured right now because you're being pressured to not go into your escapist tendencies, into your addiction behavior, and get trapped in a realm of thought and imagination that separates you from the demands that reality is requiring of you, aka Saturn.
Hmm.
So you have to heal this wound and basically say fuck it, fuck you, to and be yourself because Aries is raw passion. Aries does not give a fuck. So Aries is raw passion and also reaction. So, I mean, and so it's like, I'm not saying go to work and be a total fucking asshole and tell everyone to
Mm-hmm.
fuck off, but you
Mm-hmm.
can do that. But what I'm saying is not caring anymore about these people or these things, and
Right.
um, and so the other interesting thing that's been going on with your chart, so hold on a second. So here's your North Node in Pisces, right? North Node
Mm-hmm.
Pisces, 29 degrees. And here's your South Node in Virgo, 29 degrees. The
Mm-hmm.
South Node, the North Node, they're always going to be exactly opposite of each other, okay?
Okay.
And so this moon right here, this moon forms a T square to your North Node and your South Node.
Got
And
it.
so this creates an interesting phenomenon for you in this lifetime. So the South Node is the past, it's karma, past lives, past a karmic accumulation,
Mm-hmm.
and the familiar, what you've
Okay.
done before, what you've experienced before. And the North Node is the future, it's destiny, it's fated, but it's also the unknown and the unfamiliar. So with your moon performing a T square to your North and South Node, what this means is that in this lifetime, you're here to go through intense choice points where the karma of your past resurfaces, and you're having to decide whether or not to convert back to your old tendencies or move further into what you're here to do and develop.
Okay.
So South Node and Virgo, okay, so you've lived a lot of lifetimes where everything had to be perfect.
Mm.
So the South Node in Virgo, these are people. So like for example, let's say let's say you were a heart surgeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of your work was to literally cut people's chest opens
Mm-hmm.
and perform quadruple bypass surgery,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's very serious work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Literally someone's life is in your hands, right? And in order to be able to do that job, you had to study, 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 practice, 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 and become perfect and excellent at what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, South Node in Virgo, you've lived a lot of lifetimes that were just like that, where you had to be somebody that was so excellent, or your life was so excellent that things needed to be near perfect, or else it was life or death. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your South Node in Virgo, right? That's you've lived those kind of lifetimes, perfectionist. And your North Node in Pisces, what you're supposed to develop and grow into is moving away from this idea that life and reality is supposed to look a certain way,
Mm.
and to go more into the spiritual and have connections with God, with the universe, with the spirits. So what happens, a tendency with South Node Virgo people is that when they are living throughout their life, because Virgo is all about analyzing the details, right?
Mm.
Analyzing and critiquing the details, and things need to have order, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this lifetime with your South Node in Virgo, an unconscious natural tendency is to look at your life and look at the world around you and realize how things aren't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then that creates an undertone of anxiety that you live with. And
Mm-hmm.
this anxiety becomes very intense, and because it's coming from an unconscious place, then that anxiety gets attributed to a health issue. Oh, I have this anxiety. Something must be wrong with my body, right? I must have some type of health issue. And so it creates these nervous tendencies, and a tendency for becoming a hypochondriac, right? Because you have this unconscious uh disposition of believing that your life is supposed to look a certain type of way, but it doesn't. And that's throwing you off. And because you can't identify it and associate it, then all that nervous energy, all that anxiety gets channeled into thinking something is wrong with your body, into thinking that something is wrong with your health. And
Something
so
is though. You're saying that I created that because all my like I do have shit wrong with my body. Like real
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that you potentially don't, but what I'm saying that
Yeah.
the power of, and also your South Node is not alone. You have Jupiter, you have Pluto, and you have Uranus. So this energy, this tendency has a lot of power. So
Okay.
with the South Node in Virgo, like the tendency and the power of this is to be overworked and stressed out to the
Oh,
point of manifesting illnesses within
got
the
it.
body due to a chronic state of dysregulated nervous system and
Yep.
stress.
That is
So you have
exactly
health
right.
issues, but when did the health issues arise? After how long of being anxious and
Yep.
anxious and anxious and anxious and anxious? So do you have health issues just because, or
I
did you
get it.
create them because something was not right in your external reality
Yep.
that created this constant state of
Got it.
dysregulated nervous system?
Yep. I get it.
So South Node Virgo people, and with these planets here,
Okay.
hypochondriac tendencies. And
Okay.
so it's real now, it's in your
Okay.
body, it's real now. But before it was real, did you have these issues, or were they coming from a state of the mind being
Yep.
overworked and the anxiety where then
Yep.
they were later created
Got
after
it.
20, 30 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Um,
Okay. That totally makes sense.
uh-huh,
Okay.
uh-huh. So, with the North Node in Pisces, the North Node in Pisces, the ticket with this is to learn the powers of surrendering,
Mm.
of surrendering the need to control, of surrendering the expectations of how you think your life is supposed to look like, and giving it all into the hands of your higher power, all
Mm.
into the hands of what you aligned with spiritually. So, in this lifetime, with your South Node in Virgo, you're not supposed to be analyzing the details of your life and pointing out what's wrong with it. You're supposed to be praying to God and putting it into God's hand and surrendering it there and just leaving it at that point, and keeping a heart-centered um, groundedness of
Mm.
faith and hope. Because going into the Virgo energy, and with your tendency with the Gemini moon, right? This is too many details, right? Oh, this is what's wrong. This bitch, that dude, this situation, that situation, the person that cut me off the other day, and all these things, and da 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 da. So this is an ability of being able to identify all the little details in your reality, and being caught in the waves of the duality of your mind and your imagination, to the point where we're not praying anymore and we're not putting faith and letting go, right? And that's going to keep you in this tethering of the mind, in your escapist tendencies, and overwhelmed, and continuing to make the chronic illnesses that weren't real before
Mm-hmm.
persist even harder. And
Mm-hmm.
so praying, faith, God, spirituality, surrendering, hope. These are key things for you, but also compassion and forgiveness, right?
Mm.
Compassion. These are the keys to Pisces. Surrender, love, forgiveness, compassion. These are it right here.
Those are
Because
all things I'm struggling with
yeah,
after, because let's see,
yeah.
my teacher passed away in 2007, and then loss of several four-leggeds, and what happened at the hospital, I got into a place of thinking I deserved this, and I fucked with my faith
Mm.
and my hope.
Mhm. So let me
I-
let me
so
illuminate
yeah,
something there
sorry to
for you right
interrupt.
now. No, 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 it's good. It's good.
Wanted to tell you that.
What you just said is very important because what
Yep,
you needed to say, you said it. So what you said, so you went through these things, right? You lost
yeah,
the teacher, you lost some furry companions, and in a moment of your sadness, right?
yep.
Because so Gemini is thoughts. Gemini represents thoughts, thinking,
Hmm.
and also expressions and communication. And it's in the 12th house of the subconscious and belief systems. All right.
Hmm.
So, in a moment of vulnerability, right? Because in a moment of vulnerability and grief, you
Hmm.
were in a hyper suggestible state, aka hypnosis, aka in a trance, aka disassociative.
Hmm.
You allowed a random thought to become real in your subconscious. And that random thought was, I deserve this. Is
Hmm.
that true? Was that ever true? Did it need to be true? Or was it just a random thought that your
Hmm.
Gemini moon populated and you let that thought become real? Okay. These are the
Right.
tendencies that you have with this moon in Gemini. It's a very, very tricky. This is why you have to be in control of your mind, your thinking, and choose because Gemini is all about choice and decisions, having options. So you have to actively always be choosing the states that you want to be in.
Ugh.
I want to be in happiness. I want to be in embodiment. I want to be in strength and confidence. Because then
Mm.
if you don't, then what's going to happen is your brain is going to be in a constant state of suggestibility. And
Hmm.
outside of you, where you have no control, is pure chaos. And that pure
Right.
chaos can influence you in a very strong and intense way because of your natural state of being in hypnosis because you're basically you are what's called a somnambulance, which means it's very easy for you to drop into an altered state like that. You
Mm.
can drop into hypnosis, you can drop into a trance
Hmm.
like real quick, like instantly.
So that's why work is even harder right now, to be in that
Yes.
workspace, that environment, because it's palpable for me. And then I feel
Yes.
like I'm a lunatic because I know that I can't talk to anyone about it. Like
Yes, yes,
literally,
yes.
there's
Yes.
like in
Uh-huh.
you're one more person now who like understands. Like this is, I don't mean to keep interrupting. I'm just
No, no,
so
this is great.
relieved in a way, like because what you're saying resonates, and I have just really been struggling. Like, and I know that's why I have so many four-leggeds because I wouldn't be here. Plus, before my teacher passed away, he would be like, "You don't get to go back to sleep. Like, once you wake up, you know too much." He's like, "You can't go back to sleep, Z." He called me Z.
Hmm.
And plus, I was always really suicidal. And he would be like, "What makes you so fucking special?" And oh, I'd get so mad. But, I understand that now.
Yeah.
So I've always had, like I told you the other day, one foot over.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I know, anyway, it's just thank you.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. And so,
I'm, I
the
feel scared though, but you're right. I don't need to feel scared. That's another
see,
fallacy.
and so here, so what is the solution to fear?
Love,
Faith,
faith,
faith and hope. And what is one way that you can practice faith?
praying.
Surrendering the fear, surrendering the control,
Okay.
and pray to higher
Okay.
power. That's
Okay.
a solution to fear, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can begin. Creator, Lord, Father, Heavenly Mother, I ask for you to be with me at this time right now. Shower my home, shower my pets with love and compassion. Allow me to be centered in my heart. I face some challenges right now in my day-to-day life as I come to work. I'm afraid to go to work. I'm afraid to deal with the people at my job. I'm feeling attacked on multiple levels, not just in the mundane, but also in the spiritual. And I ask for you, Spirit, my ancestors, to lend me strength and courage at this time right now so I can meet the day-to-day demands of my life in order for me to function and survive in this reality. Please, I ask for you. I surrender all of these issues. I surrender all of my complaints to you and put them in your power because you are the only one with the higher mind and the greater understanding to fix this for me. Please help me so much. Please, please, please. I pray for you in humble, humble service, praying, opening
Oh,
yourself up, connecting to that, speaking to
oh,
that, and then surrendering it, right? And allowing yourself to not bring it home and to be at home fucking chain smoking cigarettes, stressing the fuck out about the assholes at your job because
mhm.
they're assholes no matter what.
Right.
So and so you're living you're living in a hell realm right now because you're tormented by this at work and after work 24/7. And the solution is this North Node Pisces
Okay.
praying.
Okay.
Excuse me.
It's good.
And the 12th house, right? The 12th house, this is also the domain of suicide, right? And your
Yep.
moon is here, but also your black moon Lilith is here. So the 12th house is the domain of the subconscious, mental health, mental unwellness, um, schizophrenia, bipolar, all those types of things. The 12th house is also the domain of refugees, right? People who have been torn away from their homes due to war. It's the domain of suffering, of sacrifice, of martyrdom, and also institutions such as prisons and mental institution, right? And suicide. So the 12th house is all of these things, and those things seem pretty shitty, right? Right?
Hmm.
All those things I just listed, refugees, suicide, mental health, mental unwellness, suicide, sacrifice.
Hmm.
But remember, the 12th house is a domain of duality. There's
Hmm.
two sides to it. So that's one side of the duality, which is because the 12th house is where Pisces comes from. And Pisces is the sign of the two fishes swimming in and out of different realms and dimensions. So one realm of dimension is that hell realm, the nightmare, right? But then there's the dream, the bliss, right? Being able to transcend your awareness to the whole universe, being able to experience the oneness that is creator and the magnificence of everything that has been birthed from this point, and having so much love and compassion in your heart and seeing. So the 12th house is both of these things. It's all this suffering and all this lower stuff, but it's also Christ consciousness and transcending. And the keys, okay, these are very important because there are specific keys that are 12th house Pisces related. And your North Node is Pisces, okay? which means which means that your North Node, Pisces, this is where you are underdeveloped. And so this is the North Node is where you is the energy that you're here to learn how to
Okay.
develop. Okay.
Okay.
And so South Node is where you are already developed. And you have a lot of planets that are around your South Node, which means you are overdeveloped here and underdeveloped here. Okay. And your moon just so happens to be in the 12th house, which is the domain that Pisces rules. Okay. So listen to these keys. All right. These keys are very important because when you are in the nightmare, when you are in your hell realm, we are looking at all of the things that are frightening us. We are looking at all of the things that suck, that are shitty, right? The job sucks. The world sucks. There are all these wars. My boss sucks. All these things, right? Then this is what perpetuates and reinforces the matrix of the nightmare. And so to transcend that and to get into the dream state, to get into the higher realms, the keys are forgiveness, compassion, surrender, and hope and prayer. Okay? Those are the keys. And those are the keys that you're here to master because you're underdeveloped in that. And your moon here is trying to help you with that. So like so like for example, the Wizard of Oz, right?
Hmm.
When Dorothy is she's in another reality, right? She's in a whole other world in the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy is, right? And it's scary. There's witches, there's all these weird people, and the man behind the curtain, and she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And all she had to do was click her heels and say there's no place like home, right?
Mm. Right.
Then she transcends that reality and goes back home, right?
Mm.
That's the same kind of thing, is that you are in your hell realm is
Mm.
a domain, is like the Wizard of Oz. You're in the realm of Oz. You have your
Hmm.
wicked witches, you have your flying monkeys, you got all these things going on, but home, the other side, right, is right beside you. And all you got to do is put your hands together like this and pray. That's it. Just pray and practice those keys of extending some compassion and the effects of that and how it's going to change and alter your auric field, your toroidal field, the quantum field around you. It Play with it. You want to play with
Okay.
it, okay? Play
Okay.
with it. So like, okay, you, that boss, that asshole that tell me I'm talking too much about my dog. I don't understand why that's an issue. I think you're just a fucking bitch, but you're probably just a bitch because I don't know what happened to you in your life, but something is wrong. There's pain in you somewhere. And I just want to acknowledge that there's pain in you somewhere. And that's why you're a fucking bitch. And I don't want to fucking be a bitch back towards you. So let me
Yep.
just send some love that way. And hopefully that helps you fucking show up to work a little bit more decent, right? Play with it. Okay. I'm
Okay.
channeling for you. All right.
Okay.
That's where all this is coming from.
No, it's
Uh,
fucking awesome. Like I'm already I'm gonna message we hang up and I'm gonna have her reach out to you. She's my soul sister. I love her dearly. Anyway, keep going. Yeah, I lost my faith.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And these are the tests, right?
Mm.
Because it's very easy to find the teachers and start having some experiences and learning all of these spiritual things and opening that door where we're like, wow, the spiritual world and all of these concepts. I have
Yep.
ancestors, I have an army, my Pleiadian past lives,
Yep.
right? We get
Yeah.
high in that space when it first opens up. But then boom, the world hits, right? Real shit starts happening in the world that challenges, and what that is a test of your integrity to really embody what it is you actually believe in. So it's
Hmm.
like I believe in creator has my back and everything is working out for me, but then you get a speeding ticket, and the moment you get your speeding ticket, now you're all like, God damn it, why does everything in the world seem to be after me? And now you're breaking your integrity of what it is you say you believe spiritually because you got a speeding ticket. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right?
Hmm.
So here's where we're at with this, with these energy dynamics here, is with that South Node in Virgo, the mundane reality, the details, the harshness of it, being trapped in there, and your moon in Gemini. So what's important for you with your moon in Gemini in the 12th house? Okay, so I already gave you the keys, right?
Hmm.
Now here are some commands, all right? With your moon and Gemini, here are some commands. You need to command the states that you want to be in. You need to choose them. You need to
Okay.
choose what states you want to be in, and you need to set boundaries because with your moon in the 12th house, you are very open to suggestions. You're very open to the energetic influence of others, and not just other people, but you're open to the energetic influences of music, commercials, the
Yep.
radio, the
Yeah.
television. You're very open to the subliminal frequencies and messages that are embedded all around you. So you need to develop and create psychic boundaries. You need to protect your subconscious mind and set psychic boundaries. And I know that's like Okay, how do I fucking do that? What do you mean set psychic boundaries? Just start with affirming it. Just start with speaking it. Just start with affirming, okay, I am creating psychic boundaries to protect my subconscious mind.
Okay,
That's just there it is. You spoke it, you're activating it, and your
got it.
body and your neurons, your mind is learning to understand what that means. And over
Right.
time, you will refine what that actually looks like and how to actually do that in your day to day. But you need to start with affirming it by speaking it out to yourself. I'm creating this psychic boundary so everybody else's bullshit does not overwhelm me, and I am choosing to be in a state of calm, grounded, centered clarity, right? So
Yep.
we're choosing our states, that our emotional states we want to be in, and we're setting our boundaries. Because with that moon in Gemini operating in the 12th house, like this is too loosey goosey. This is too open. This is too loosey goosey. You need to rein it in, which means you have to be in charge of it. You can't just let it operate on its own because it's like a teenage girl that someone slipped meth and threw out into a party, right? Whoa, someone go get that child because they're way too high on the fucking drugs and they think life is all bliss until a rapist comes and fucking grabs them, right? So that's that's how this moon is operating. Forgive me for my vulgarness, but
No, no, no. You're good with me. I'm like a total sailor. And I actually grabbed a notebook to write. So you said forgiveness, surrender,
surrender, compassion,
compassion,
um, uh,
and what was the last one?
hopes and prayer.
And hopes and prayers. So I
Yeah,
need to start. I smudge and
good.
I stopped doing it daily.
Mhm.
And then he always would say the first 3 minutes of your day, and I haven't been doing that. And I will make a commitment to do that again. That's I am understanding what you're saying, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Good, good, good. And so this year you've started what's called the Saturn return. So
Right.
you're going through your second Saturn return. And
Ugh.
right now that Chiron is on your natal Saturn. And look at where Mars is. So Mars right now is at 23 degrees of Aries. And let me
Okay.
show you. So in less than a week, okay, on May 16th, all right. And
Oh,
thank God it's a weekend. I'm pretty sure May 16th is a weekend. Um,
I think so. It is. Yeah.
yeah, thank God you're not at work. Oh shit. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me see.
Wait.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, okay?
Okay.
But
Good.
your Friday is still close enough for these energies. So look at May 16th, okay? It's the new moon in Taurus. Sun in Taurus, moon in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, Ceres in Taurus, new moon in Taurus, which initiations, planting the seeds, setting some intentions, right? But what's happening during this new moon in Taurus is look at where Mars is at that point. Because
Oh,
Mars right now is at 23 degrees, but by
at
the time we're in the
28.
new moon, Mars is exactly conjunct Chiron, which will be exactly on your natal Saturn. Okay. So, my friend,
Uh-oh.
yes, um, things might become a little bit hairy, you know? The friction of what you're dealing with, you might slightly intensify building up towards Friday, going into Saturday, okay?
Mm,
Because Mars, right? Mars and the sign Aries, Mars rules Aries. These are the expressions of conflict, the warrior, aggression, reaction, passion, tendency, anger at frustration. These are all things that Mars in Aries can bring out, right? When Mars is in Aries, people are more quick to respond in anger and creating conflict than they normally would be. When Mars is in Pisces, we're too sensitive. We don't want to deal with the conflict. We
mm,
don't like no one's got time with it. I just need to take a nap. When Mars
mm.
is in Aries, it's like, oh no, I'm fucking pissed off right now. So This is on your Saturn. So I want you to begin to look at, to begin perceiving what you are experiencing because a lot, your biggest complaints for the whole session is work, your job. Okay.
Hmm.
So I want you to look at I want you to start perceiving this whole career, this whole work thing as a stage, okay? As a stage and a scene that has been set in preparation for the times that you are moving in, and the creator of the stage and the creator of the scene is your higher self, your
Mm,
ancestors
mm.
that are moving you through this test, okay? And there are characters that are chosen to play certain roles of the situation you are in at work in order to help you heal your wound, and grow beyond, to finally surpass this stage that you are in. Does that make
Got
sense?
it. Yep, yep. No, it
Yeah.
does. It does. It does. And I'm trying to think. There's actually a work barbecue that week that they force us to go to that I also hate, but I'll just go to it. And then that Saturday I can be by myself.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
S-
yeah. I'll just be savvy about where I put myself that
mhm,
day
mhm.
because I'm afraid of my own temper. It scares the
Yeah, yeah.
animals, it scares, and I've had it since I was little.
Right, right,
Like,
right,
and it
right.
scared me when I was little, like, because I
Yeah.
never knew I'm assuming it's a trauma response, but I don't know.
See,
I don't know.
so the other thing too is like, so there's your anger, there's your temper, but what the thing about the Mars and Aries conjunct the Chiron on your Saturn is that the people around you are just going to be so what's the word? They're going to be in a rare form,
Mm.
meaning certain uh certain like inhibitions, you know,
So it's
that
gonna
would
challenge me.
that would certain inhibitions that would normally be
Mm-hmm.
in their mind to block them are
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be gone, which means they're going to be more um
Hurtful.
yeah, but not intentionally.
Okay.
It's just it's just them being raw and unrefined in their expressions, that they're not really realizing how they're coming off or what they're saying because their level of social awareness is this small.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it might not be that they're intentionally trying to do this, but they are doing it one way or another, and I want you to perceive it as because they are acting as instruments to
Okay.
trigger these things that are being stimulated within you to spark healing and growth.
Got it.
Because I think after this, I think what's coming up after this is okay, so here's your Saturn, right? Here's your Chiron, here's your Venus, and you've had Chiron move through your 10th house
Mm-hmm.
for the last 7 years. And
Mm-hmm.
right now it's right here on your Saturn. And so the timing of this is so interesting. So I'm gonna try to break down. So Chiron right now is on your Saturn. And it took Chiron 7 years to reach your Saturn.
Okay.
And it just so happened that the moment Chiron finally reaches your Saturn is also the moment that your Saturn return begins. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the moment your Saturn return begins, Saturn contacts your Chiron. So, 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 so transiting Chiron is on your Saturn, transiting Saturn is on your Chiron. So you can't escape this whole Saturn Chiron thing. And just to paint it out a little bit more clearer to you, I'm gonna read you something, okay? So
Okay.
this is transiting Saturn conjunct your natal Chiron. Okay, um, so here we go. So, your psyche is subject to a stressful and potentially vitalizing time, as the very structure of your life is subject to painful realizations, leading to great changes in your self-concept. At this time, also, difficulties with authority figures may emerge, or your relationship with your father may be challenging, or the way you live your life in relation to the structure of society itself may be coming to a point where changes that have been in the works for some time are ready to burst forth into your conscious awareness. There may be old wounds with your father or with the parental care and discipline you received in early childhood that re-emerge at this time, hopefully for purposes of healing these issues and the potentially debilitating effects that they may have in your life. At this time, also, the self concept that you have had up until now may be changing, leading to a renewed sense of your own healing potential. Through a slow, concentrated effort, you may begin to connect with a higher purpose in the work that you do at this time, especially if this work involves helping people to heal in some way and to grow in their own understanding of who they really are. Wow. Okay.
That's heavy, man.
Super. Okay. There's more. There's more because that
Oh,
was transiting Saturn on your Chiron. Now I'm going to read you transiting Chiron on your Saturn. And
oh
this is a transit that began July 2025 and it's going to last until July 2028, but
no.
the most intense part of it, the most intense part of it is this year 2026, okay?
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So, your psyche is subject to a stressful and potentially revitalizing period of time. The very structure of your life may be changing as you undergo painful realizations, leading to a great metamorphosis in your
Mm.
self concept. At this time, also, difficulties with authority figures may emerge, or your relationship with your father may be challenging, or the way you live your life in relation to the structure. So, a lot of this is going to be repeating the same thing because it's Saturn and Chiron. So often your sense of responsibility and the corresponding societal structure we have internalized during our formative years is a poor fit to our more mature and evolved understanding. It is difficult to give up old patterns, but if you can possess your individual sense of responsibility, as astrologer Caroline Casey says, own your Saturn. You may become
Mm.
free for the first time of received opinions from consensus reality and be able to finally march to the beat of your own drum. Hold on, I'm
Mm.
on a roll here because there's more things I need to speak to you about what's happening. So,
Okay.
your Chiron is at 4 degrees of Aries, right? Well,
Mhm.
what else is the other planet that we have not talked about at all at this time is Neptune is in
Right.
Aries also. Neptune is in Aries at 3 degrees, which is going to be on your Saturn. And I think, let's see, I think if I go forward, like let me go forward just at least one more month. Yeah, so by June, there's Neptune 4 degrees Aries exactly on your Chiron, okay? So this is a whole other layer of what you're going through. And I'm going to read to you Neptune on your Chiron right now. So,
Okay.
Neptune on your Chiron, this may be a stressful time for you.
Oh my
What is
God.
affected, that part of yourself that is a dissolver of old structures for the purpose of making way for some hitherto unseen aspect of yourself to emerge, and you will necessarily undergo a transformation of your spiritual values at this time. You will likely experience a tension between an old, outmoded way of being and a new vision of what could be possible. The shadow side is disappointment with yourself,
Mm.
perhaps even depression, and there could be confusion about what you truly want at this time. But the joy of this spiritual journey of discovery comes from making peace with yourself and beginning to fulfill your dreams. The gap between the ideal and the merely real could become very wide for you at this time. Something new deep inside you is awaiting birth. You are learning how to hang out with the uncertainty of it all. The world as it presents itself to you during this period is not so pat and simple as it seemed. There are angels in the woodwork calling out for you to listen with your inner senses. You are dreaming a new realization into being for yourself, ultimately, a new world, since the world is really what we are dreaming into being with each new moment. If you dream wisely at this time, you can make a difference for yourself and for others around you as well. Okay, so I
That's a
really, I really
huge
wanted go
responsibility.
ahead.
I just said that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. So I really wanted to point all these things out for you because this is very significant. And going back to February, we had the Saturn Neptune conjunction that happens once every 36 years, right? So it happened in Aries at 0 degrees, which is within orb of a conjunction to your Chiron, okay? Which means that everything you are dealing with right now is pressurizing you to come to this point so you can clearly identify and speak out loud what you don't want anymore about yourself, your own behaviors, and what you don't want to experience in reality anymore, and to then claim something new that ultimately initiates a new path of reimagining and reinventing your whole identity, which means that I believe at some point throughout this year, and I don't know what the timeline is, but I believe that at some point you should be choosing a whole different career path, something that's not related to this stuff, because what you're doing now is related to your 20 years of experience working at a hospital.
Hmm.
I think because what's happening is something deep in your psyche, in your subconscious that you forgot or is repressed deep inside is trying to emerge and make itself known to you. And it's making itself known to you through the pain you are experiencing. So you can identify with that and then start running with what comes up. So I don't know. Let's say now all of a sudden, you start thinking, you come up with a new idea of like, I don't know, let me think of something super simple, but like making candles, right? So it's
Hmm.
like, you know what? I love candles. I'm gonna start making candles and I'm gonna be all witchy with my candles and
Hmm.
I'm gonna start going to all the farmers markets and fuck all this other stuff. I'm just gonna sell candles. I'm gonna open an
Hmm.
online store. I'm gonna do an Etsy. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So something completely new, different. And the timeline of it. I think that's that I don't know the timeline. I think that's up to you, but also part of the transits that you're going through. But all this to say is I don't think you're supposed to stay in this same type of work field. I
I don't
think
think
I
so either.
I think there's something completely new. Furry companions, right? Four-leggeds, right?
Hmm.
Maybe there's something, like I have a piece of wire wrapped jewelry that my cat wears as a necklace,
Oh.
instead of a collar, and it's
Hmm.
got tourmaline and lapis lazuli, and
Oh,
she's a
that's cool.
black cat, and she looks beautiful, right?
Aw.
So maybe like I'm just throwing out as many
Yeah.
suggestions, so like maybe you can make very personalized animal collars,
Hmm.
four-legged collars that
Hmm.
are wire weaved, and beautiful.
Yeah.
And like let's say a dog has trouble with grounding or anxiety or like overeating and you find out the right crystals for it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or even the essential oils, like you make blends of essential oils for animals or something that helps them soothe and ground, you know. Um, so I'm just spitting out a lot of different ideas your way. Um, but yeah, I really feel that that's important for me to share with you. And the other thing too is like I'm gonna go back a couple months. I'm gonna go back all the way to February because I want you to see I want you to
Oh,
see
I got
something.
really sick in February. I think that's when I got sick.
Yeah, yeah. So let me
Whoa, look at that.
yeah. I'm gonna go back even a few more weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, let me go back.
Holy shit. What's all this clumpy up here? Oops. Whoa.
Yeah. So
What's all
look,
in that house right there?
yeah, this is all the seventh house partnerships, relationships, agreements
Oh.
here. But where, where what I really, but a lot of these are the personal planets. So, the personal planets move fast, you
Mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm.
So they're here for a few weeks and they go here for a few weeks and they go here
Oh,
for a
I
few
get it.
weeks,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh.
So I'm looking at the long transits.
Got it, got it, got
Because
it.
the long transits tell us what are the overarching fucking themes we're dealing with here.
Right, right. Well, and I see those two there again.
So yeah,
Wait.
look at you see Saturn and
Uh-huh.
Neptune. Saturn and Neptune were right here on your North Node, okay? And remember the North Node represents fate, fate, the future, but also the unknown and the unfamiliar, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
Neptune adds the element of spiritual experiences, but also confusion and doubt, but also feeling the sense that spirit is here. Saturn adds this layer of pressure and responsibility. Okay. So you've had Neptune and Saturn on your North Node, which means your destiny so in the months of January and February, also last year too, because this happened once last year also,
Mm-hmm.
but we're talking about this year right now, is that you had that this year you had a destiny point activated, which means the things you are experiencing right now, you are destined to experience them to help you move further into the unknown terrains that you are unfamiliar with. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
And it's Piscean, so don't forget those keys. And so the other thing too is like, with your career, right? Like you've worked in the general same field of service through medical help for the
Mm-hmm.
last, what, 25,
20.
26
Yeah.
years, okay?
Yep.
You were at the
Yep.
hospital for 20, but you still did the same work at another
Yep.
place, right?
Yep.
So
Correct.
that's a long time. Okay.
Fuck yeah,
That's a
man.
really, really long time. So
Yes.
now, with this destiny point being activated, it's opening yourself up to be guided by spirit, right? With that
Mm.
North Node and Pisces, to be guided by spirit, to be shown and to put faith into that and take those steps forward, going into a direction that you've never done before.
Okay. Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to access that, but maybe it'll unfold if I start just praying and asking for the courage to surrender. That's
Yeah.
been a big one for me, is the courage to surrender. I mean, even when my teacher was alive, I would kick and scream through it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
know that, but this is God, this is so helpful. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and so thank you for saying that because something that I wanted to say earlier, but I was just, I'm just there's just so many things to
There's,
talk about.
I figured
Um,
there would be.
it's yeah, it's this Black Moon Lilith in Cancer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you see this Black Moon Lilith in Cancer is at 4 degrees in your
Mm-hmm.
12th house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this Black Moon Lilith is operating within you on an unconscious level, and it's so close. It's so close to it, like it's making a conjunction to your rising sign. So what this means is that the way this Black Moon Lilith operates is it operates right here, right on your peripherals.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really see it, but you can sense it, okay?
Okay. That makes
And
sense.
yeah. And so what Black Moon Lilith has a tendency of doing is um creating, it's like, how do I say, so Black Moon Lilith can put us in a state of fear, basically.
Mm,
Um,
that's about right.
yeah, so Black Moon Lilith can trigger fears, states of fears, and it often revolves around being afraid of what our own true power is.
That sounds about right.
And so this Black Moon Lilith is right here on the thresholds of your 12th house, on your rising sign. So what this means is that all of the things that you experience in life, you're always going to have this very strong undertone of deep primal fear.
Mm,
And then also because your moon is here in Gemini, it's easy for your mind or your mental processes to become scattered with the wind, especially if fear triggers it, which
mm-hmm,
then that puts you in a state of fight and flight
mm,
mentally, where your thoughts are gone with the wind
mm-hmm,
because they're running from something, stress,
mm-hmm,
cortisol, the body, right?
mm-hmm,
Stress, okay?
mm-hmm,
And then with the moon here, then what we do to help alleviate the fear is we escape it.
mm-hmm,
We escape it through an addiction, okay?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Whether it's self-harm,
mm-hmm,
drugs,
mm-hmm,
overeating or not eating, whatever it
mm-hmm,
is, it's I
mm-hmm.
need to do something to numb
Yep.
this fear that I have right now. So you have your Black Moon Lilith and your moon here in the 12th house that kind of, do this whole thing back and forth that keep you in this it keeps you right here. Okay? It keeps you right
Yeah.
here where these two energy channels are going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, keeping you in a cycle, okay? And so the cycle, right? The solution, right, is opening up those channels, all right? And like what on the call we had yesterday, what you told me is that you never ask for help, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't ask for help. So for you reaching out is a big deal, okay? So to take advantage of this moon in Gemini is you don't have to know how to do all the things right now. You don't have to know how to summon the courage or anything like that. What you need to do is just start clearly speaking. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
Out loud to yourself, to the forces, right? It's like, you know,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
God, universe, I'm confused as fuck. I
Okay.
don't know fucking anything. I'm
Okay.
also afraid.
Okay.
I don't want to be afraid. I don't even know what I'm afraid of.
Okay.
But I'm here right now, opening these channels up,
Okay.
asking for help, asking for guidance. And I don't even know how that looks like if you were to help me. So, can you help me to even understand how that would look like in my life? Because I'm too dense in the head and I don't know how to read the signs or read between the lines because I'm
Okay.
too stuck in my own shit. Um,
Okay.
can you please help me not be so stuck in my own shit, please? That's all, it's literally as simple as that, Christine. You just
Okay.
need to start openly talking
I can do that.
to God, to
So I
or
don't have
spirit.
to smudge, like I don't have to light sage and smudge. I can just be
I mean,
walking
I would. It
down.
helps, right? It
It does
helps.
help, but I mean I can also just like talk.
Yes, yes. Let's say in the moment you don't have the smudge or you're in bed and you don't want to get up, like it's
Right.
fine. You can just start talking,
Okay.
But if you want to go full ceremonial with it, right? Like let me ring the bell and get some sage and
Hmm.
start smudging.
No, I have it. I do that. Yeah.
You can do that, but you can even just leave it to the most simplest things, as just to start speaking, to start
Okay.
clearly asking for the help. Because where you get, and the reason why I believe that you have to speak out loud is because your moon's in the 12th house, which is the domain of the subconscious and existing in imagination and thoughts. So that's internal.
Mm-hmm.
And then your South Node Virgo with the other Virgo placements here as well is that this keeps you too internal and stuck in that loop
Mm-hmm.
internally. And so
Mm-hmm.
we need to start reaching out to a higher
Okay.
power. And I think what's going to help shatter these loops is speaking out loud. So
Mm.
I think that
To
this is
break that energy.
exactly, to start
Yeah.
breaking that energy. Yep, exactly. And
Okay.
I feel really, really, really good about this. And so I just want to say thank you
Oh my God,
for
thank you.
reaching out and for allowing me to be of service to you today. I can really feel what you are going through and what your past struggles have been, and understanding your chart, I can understand how you're navigating it and how these looping cycles are working. And I just feel very honored that I get to be of service to you to explain these patternings that you have and offer real solutions to help you break out of that. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so grateful, and I felt really alone and really scared, and um just don't feel like I've had, and I do have a handful of people, but I haven't felt like that. And I felt like everything you said today was like, I just felt understood. I felt heard. I felt seen. I would like to keep communicating with you if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, like, definitely after May 15th. Um, um, and I just want to say thank you, you know, with all my heart.
Yes. You are so welcome. And yes, please stay in touch.
Hey, yeah. Wow. Okay. So this is great. Thank you so much. There's so much you said. So you're sending a recording. Well, I have a picture of that chart. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'll
Awesome.
send you the recording, and
Okay.
everything on screen you're gonna see on screen that I shared with you. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're so welcome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end the